Hi, this is Dr. Anita with another diamond moment. The diamonds of our lives are produced through time, heat, and pressure. Everything that we encounter has the opportunity to become something great. It's just the way that we evaluate, that we look at, that we perceive any given situation. That in itself will determine its value. I hope that you have been learning and growing. And if you hadn't realized it, for the last 2 years, we've been on a spiritual journey. We've been waking up to some things. We've been realizing areas that have held us back. We've been challenging areas that we've needed to look at, but maybe didn't know how much they were affecting the life around us and affecting our lives. So I hope that you've come to realize some things on this journey of looking within, which is exactly what a spiritual journey is. Sometimes we make things so woo-woo and weird until we are holding our own selves back. Sometimes it's just a matter of reevaluating terminology and realizing that what we do is exactly what others are doing, but we've been taught that if we listen to them or look at them or interact with them, that in many belief systems, you're going straight to hell. And I hope that you have been able to debunk those thoughts and realize that's not what's real. You are absolutely just fine. You will be able to work through anything that you need to with the skill sets that you should have learned if you've been following me along the way. I hope that you've learned that and have grown enough to know that you no longer fit that little small image that you may have once had of yourself, and that others don't fit that small image that you had of them. I truly hope that you've been able to stop being afraid of yourself or other people, and that you're able now to look around. The land that we're in now, where we've been traveling to, the season of your life at this point has been the destination to be more than you were, to overcome what you thought that you couldn't, to strengthen yourselves in areas that you may not have imagined needed strengthening, to be able to stand enough on your own 2 feet to determine your own path, and then to have the courage to walk on it. As you move forward with me on the diamond journey through our journaling process, I want you to really pay attention to being all that you can be and determining where you want to go in your own journey. I hope that you've gained enough strength and enough wisdom to look around you and make some decisions on who you really do want to be in your life. And I hope that you've gained enough courage to let go of labels. Sometimes those labels are so limiting that we've outgrown them so long ago, and yet again we haven't challenged that limiting label. If you pay any attention to the world around you, I'm sure that you can tell that things are changing, they're shifting, and we're in a place that we've not been in before. I truly hope that you're able to have gained enough inner strength to determine who you want to be around. I said this last week, but I want to say it again. If you look around and you encounter people that at one point you associated yourself with that label that described them, and you see that who they are, where they're going, what their focus is not you, then it's time to discard labels. I frequently share with you my beliefs. My beliefs are based in the truth of Scripture. And the reason why I say that again is that you can come across something that has been truthfully stated, but is not a statement of truth. And so it is the truth of Scripture that I have based my foundation on. Foundation meaning the way that I maneuver in this world. But I'm rapidly coming to an understanding that people who have been named by a name are no longer, or may not necessarily be, the name that they've named themselves. When you're around me on a regular basis, you know that I say this frequently, and that is, I don't deem people who don't have an issue with being cruel to others as a person that I relate to. To be able to put children in cages, to be able to separate people, babies from their mothers, to determine that what I do with my body is what everybody's going to do with theirs. To look around and see the myriad of creations that God has made in the form of people and say that only people who look like me should have advantages. Everyone else should be disadvantaged. And then to turn around and claim that I'm a Christian, and I'll say the word, that I'm a Christian, I have an issue with. And as I have continued to research, to watch, to look at the society that we live in now, not the one that we lived in decades ago or even a century ago, but the one that we live in now. I hope that as you also have an issue with people who profess to be something that is absolutely evident that they are not. When we allow God's law, what is God's law? Love, to love others as we love ourselves, to love others and accept others, and to love God is real simple. God's law is love. And when we look around and we see people who have no qualms with hating, with discriminating, with tearing down, with abusing, with misusing, taking advantage of others, and call themselves by the name of Christian, they're not Christian. I want to ask you something, and I hope that you'll really be able to dig down deep and think about. And that is, are you being used? Are you being used? Are you being used for someone else's agenda to be able to get what they want and further misuse and abuse those who are marginalized, those that are children, or those that are vulnerable? Are you being used? Are you really utilizing the voice that you've been given in order to do good for people, to love people? Or are you being used by people who are being called by a name that they don't know anything about, and it's evident that they don't, due to the way that they treat others? I know that in some religious circles and or spiritual circles, that we're so busy being spiritual that we are not taking into consideration that we live in a world that is natural, and that we are obligated as spiritual beings to voice that spirituality in a natural world. That's why we live in these bodies, these shells, these earth suits that are connected to the natural, because I don't believe that we were intended to only think of the spiritual. When we do that, we fall short of helping those that we are supposed to love. We fall short of helping those that we're supposed to love because, as the idiom says, we're so heavenly minded until we're no earthly good. So come down, come off of it, and start realizing and looking around you and deciding what you want to be a part of and what you don't. When so much of the society of today is built on ratings, why are you allowing people to have ratings based off of your input, your watching in areas that you don't agree in? Are you being used? Are you failing to exercise your voice because you just want to get along with the crowd that you actually no longer agree with? Are you being used? Are you allowing people to pull you into their mess when you know that is not how you think? Are you being used? Are you allowing people to count you in their group when that is not who you are, but you're afraid to say, count me out? That's not me. I won't be doing that, because you're afraid. We've been looking at fear. We've looked at conquering the things that were limiting us, and fear is a huge one. Why are you saying that you go along with something when deep in your heart you know that it's wrong? But in order to keep up appearances, in order to oppress the person that you know right now is not a person that you really choose to continue associating with, why are you doing that? And why are you allowing yourself to be used? All of these are areas that we look at when we're moving towards our ultimate goal, our ultimate destiny. And sometimes where we're going requires us to speak out. Maybe that's what your challenging, limiting behaviors has been about, is taking the shackles off of you so that you can just speak out. So I want to challenge you in this coming week not to be a part of what you already know you don't agree with, to give yourself the permission to disagree, to give yourself the permission to even seek out others who are more like you. And if whatever title people choose to place on themselves, when you know that that is not the case, are you going to be silent and allow them to usurp that name? Or are you going to speak up? We're again at a different place in time, and it's time to say something. Not just think it, but say something and do something. Don't allow who you are to be taken over by people that are not you and that are not like you. If that's not what it is, point it out and say something. I hope that you'll continue listening. I hope that you'll continue staying with me. I hope you'll keep moving forward in our journey into freedom and into being all that we could be, our journey into becoming. I hope that you'll join me on Wisdom, that you will continue listening to the podcast, that you'll visit my website at DrAnitaMc.com, and that you'll join me on Facebook. Thank you.